You're probably not as bad as you think. And I would suggest that you're probably better than you think you are. What's going on, guys? Dr. Sean here, author of Discover Choice. If you're new to this channel, welcome. We're so glad to have you. Hit that subscribe button and jump on in. For those that are returning, thank you so much. Glad to have you. I'm glad you found the value in what we discuss here, how you can win and how we can win together. The topic of today is you are probably not as bad as you think you are a person. You're probably better a person than you think you are. Both of those things, actually. A handful of years ago, I was driving along and got stuck in a snowstorm, and I was reading this book when I got stuck, The Road Less Traveled. You may have heard me tell this story before. I won't go through the whole thing, but I ended up finishing that book while I was stuck and my car wouldn't move. I stayed in a hotel that night. You know, I was never able to get my car out of there. And so I rented a car and left that space, never to return. There was something about that book that made me feel freer, made me feel lighter. Something got resolved. Maybe a lot of things got resolved. Some things got healed. I felt that I was a better person after reading that book. I think there was a part of me that was probably punishing myself for not praying on a regular basis. Now, I was raised here in America, traditional folks, wonderful folks, good folks, traditionally church-going people, Christians, and based on some ideas that praying happened at night right before bed, on your knees with your hands together. And I was not doing this. I was never doing it. I mean, maybe if I did it once every handful of years because I thought about it, but I was never getting on my knees and praying at the side of the bed before sleeping. And so I felt that I was not doing something that I was supposed to be doing and should be doing and was therefore evil, not a good person. I'm just cutting to the chase here. And I carried that around. I didn't tell anybody, of course, that I wasn't praying. It was kind of a secret of mine. And then I read this book, and this book did not directly talk about praying at all. It's called The Road Less Traveled. But I felt better about myself, and I felt that I wasn't as bad a person, that maybe I was on the right track, the better track than I thought. I felt better. Well, I was about 24 at the time. And as I would grow and continue to develop as an adult, sometimes people would pull me aside and say, wow, you're really blessed. How proud they were of me. And they would ask me, where do you go to church? And I would be so embarrassed because my church-going habits were just like my praying habits on the side of the bed. I didn't have a church home. That was the other question they were asking me on a regular basis. I would tell them from time to time that most of my time is spent here taking care of people in the hospital. As a matter of fact, during those years, I was working every single day in the hospital. And so I did have some solace that while I wasn't going to a church and while I didn't have a church home and talking about taking care of people, that I did take care of people from my heart. I was doing the work. So something gave me some solace in that, but not probably enough to, make me feel better about not going to that place and doing that thing, those places and doing those things on my knees and on Sundays and things like that. And, so time would continue and then people would still say, wow, you're really blessed. I'm talking about going into my late 20s now, my 30s, my late 30s, and then my 40s, and now 50s. And I have continued to be blessed. Now, a couple things happened during that time. One is that I realized that, and people would tell me that I think positive a lot. And I kind of disciplined myself to think positive. At some point, I realized that when I was thinking positively and what people were describing as my thinking positively, these were prayers. So another thing happened, and that is I have always been trying to encourage consider myself an encourager, somebody who wants the best for people and is thinking about creative ways of helping people to find healing for themselves. What I realized is that I am praying for people during those times when I'm always thinking about how we can do this differently. Essentially, what I realized was that I am praying a lot, and what I think about a lot represents prayer. So I am not necessarily stopping in a certain place, but doing it all day long, all the time, regardless of where I am. So I realized that I'm not as bad a person as I thought, and I was definitely a better person than I thought. Now, I'm using these very simple words, not as bad and better and things like that, but I don't mean those judgment words, bad and better and things like that. But what I mean is to be developing spiritually. I was developing spiritually in ways that I didn't realize was happening. And while I was developing spiritually, during some of those times, I was actually thinking I'm going to get punished. So anyway, as I look around and see people, talk to people, some of whom are patients of mine, some are family members, friends of mine, I look around and people are pretty much doing the same thing, trying to figure it out, trying to learn from our experience, trying to help people that are around us. Basically, people are praying more than they think they are. You're thinking about good things, you're thinking about other people, wanting the best for people, you're praying. You're not as bad as you thought or think, and you're probably better. Now, I do get worried when I hear some of my friends say openly, I hope this person loses. I hope they don't do well, because I realize that they're praying. And the more I understand about life, the more I understand how connected we all are. And when we hope, whatever we hope about other people, we are also hoping for ourselves because we are connected. But most of us are trying to figure it out and do well for ourselves and move along. So you are probably better than you think you are. Keep doing that and keep winning. Take care, guys.